The National Small Business Association is the oldest organization for small businesses in the country. Founded in 1937, it represents the interests of 157,000 members. BizWise TV recently attended the 70th NSBA Congress held in Scottsdale, Arizona, where we spoke with NSBA President Todd McCracken. So what is the charter of the NSBA?
Well, we're here to represent the needs of small businesses and primarily being an advocate for small business at the national level. What we're all about is trying to make sure that the policymakers in Washington know what small businesses need and oftentimes, just as importantly, what they don't need.
What are your members telling you now about the issues that they're facing?
Small businesses also really need access to capital and credit. That's a perennial issue. It's been around as long as the association has been around. But there are some unique challenges today because more and more small businesses are getting their credit through credit cards. They used to have lines of credit and other things, but now they have these credit cards, and what's distinct about that and what the real problem that some small businesses run into is the terms in those credit cards can change really overnight at the discretion of the credit card company. So when you're paying huge interest rates on what could be many thousands of dollars of essentially a revolving credit line to run your business, and the terms change overnight, you don't have a lot of options. And so we're trying to find ways to keep that credit available to them, but make it a little bit more affordable for them. There are all kinds of labor issues and tax issues. So the tax system is much too complicated, and we think it's unfair to small businesses. There are all kinds of things in the tax code that treat self-employed people, the smallest businesses, differently than large corporations, and we think that's unfair and needs to be changed.
What role does the government play?
The role the government ought to play in addressing all these issues is to get at a level playing field, to make sure that the markets are functioning correctly and that small businesses have a fair shot. Sometimes people see the organized small business organizations as wanting something special for small business, get something other people don't get. And that's really not what we're all about at all. What we are about is trying to make sure they can get credit and capital on the same terms as their larger competitors, making sure that when they're competing for employees, that they can buy health insurance on the same terms as other companies can, and that they have access to the same labor pools.
How do you go about advocacy work?
We do a whole combination of things. We do have lobbyists in Washington that meet with congressional staff and members of Congress and try to work with them to develop the right kind of policies, but we also really try to get our members to do a lot of that and network with one another, and because politicians, while you hear a lot about lobbyists and all the money in politics, in reality they're most responsive still to voters. If they hear stuff back home from their sister's friend who runs a business, that's much more effective than me walking in the member of Congress's office and pitching a proposal. While it's necessary to have people in Washington, it's what's most necessary is to really get the small business community active and knowledgeable about these things and coming forward. That's really what we're all about.
So what would you tell CEOs the top 3 things they can do to be successful?
What makes small business succeed is their nimbleness and just entrepreneurial nature, and then so much of that really does come back to their ability to use technology. And I think that's what we have seen in the last 15 or 20 years is I think small business has become even more dynamic than it was before and is able to compete on an equal footing with larger counterparts, largely because of the technology and other tools they have at their disposal now. But I think there still are a lot of small businesses who are not in any way near maximizing that potential. And part of that is because the CEO is so busy with other things and maybe is a little bit behind on the technology curve. They have younger staff people who may know it better than they do. And I would really encourage all of them to really sort of take the time to go back and see what they can do in their business to really jumpstart it and grow it. I think that would be a key thing. Another thing I think is to really make sure you've got the right people and to invest in their employees, because at the end of the day, that's the face of your business. Those people running it every day. You cannot do it all yourself.